In today's video, we'll be talking about how you can start a passive income channel. This is a passive income channel, which means that once this channel is up and running, you don't have to work whilst the majority of the income is made. This is a new type of channel strategy that I have been using to make healthy and consistent profits on some of my smaller channels. Take a look at my channel. You can see here. That is a channel that makes around $200 to $300 per day in passive income. And I haven't even uploaded any videos on that channel in months. Now these channels are the best kind of channels, because it means that you can upload your videos for the first part and sit back and watch the money roll in. This type of channel is also the best kind of channel to start, because it means you don't have to always worry about what the next trend is. You can simply upload your videos and know that in due time, the videos that you have made will be getting you loads of views and loads of revenue passively. Now, starting a passive income channel in 2021 with the goal of making money from YouTube is something that is actually pretty easy if you know how to do it. The only problem is that every single tutorial I see on YouTube, it's still teaching old and outdated methods. These are methods that no longer work. I am teaching you new methods, and methods that will make you money in the long run. So how do we start making money from this method? And what are the key steps? So let's start by discussing step 1, the consistency. These kind of channels are not that hard to start. In fact, these kinds of channels are one of the easiest channels to start. And I'm not saying that lightly. These channels are easy to start, which is why moving forward, these kinds of channels will be the channels I start for the long term. This is because they provide the most long-term value, and they provide constant and predictable revenue. This is something that is essential, especially if you are looking for an additional stream of income that doesn't fluctuate, and something that allows you to have the flexibility of working whatever hours you want. Now, why are these channels easy to start? Well, it's due to one main reason. People will quit these channels too early and are inconsistent. This is because the one thing that's bad about these channels is the time to succeed. It usually takes 6 months to 1 year to see growth on these channels, or any revenue at all. But if you stick it out, you will get a huge amount of stable and predictable revenue that will grow year over year. The reason these channels take 6 months to 1 year to start is because they use the majority of their traffic comes from the search engine. This is something that most people don't realize. YouTube is a giant search engine, and all you need to do is to make sure that the video you produce is one that is decent enough to stay in the algorithm. For example, look at my channel. You can see that I barely uploaded. But over time, because my videos are strategically optimized, my channel is still growing and increasing the view count and subscriber count every single month. And that's even on months I don't upload. So one of the first things you need to understand about these channels is you need to make sure that you upload consistently and regularly, whether it's once a week or once every 2 weeks. You need to make sure that you are consistent in the beginning, because you will need to get the ball rolling. So what kind of content will I be producing? Step 2, the kind of content. So what's the kind of content you will be producing on this channel? Well, when we look at these kinds of channels are mainly utility channels, meaning that these channels are channels that people will use when they are seeking something out, or searching for a very specific piece of information. So it's basically your job to provide them with that piece of information in easy and informative way. So for example, your content is going to be structured in the sense that you are either teaching someone how to do something or showing a specific piece of information. Because remember, the majority of these channels' views and revenue is going to come from YouTube's search engine. That's why these channels need to focus mainly the majority of their content on the SEO kind of videos, or videos that are evergreen. Evergreen content is search-optimized content that is continuously relevant and stays fresh for viewers over a long period of time, as the name implies. You may think that all YouTube content is sustainable. After all, a YouTube video doesn't just disappear after you publish it. But evergreen content is different. It continues to be relevant long past its publication date. with search traffic growing over time, meaning that your work is compounding. What evergreen/SEO content is not? News articles, statistics on numerical reports that are likely to change and go out of date, pieces about a specific holiday or season, videos focused on a current trend or pop culture fad, latest clothing and fashion trends. Evergreen web content has virtually no expiration date and ideally will retain its value over the long term. Anything written about trendy events are not evergreen. For example, is not evergreen content because it will become obsolete 6 months from now, and many keywords associated with that topic will end up in the YouTube graveyard, never to be searched again. So make sure that whatever kind of videos you are making content on, just make sure it isn't on something that is a topic that will still be relevant 6 months to a year from now. That way, over time, your channel compounds and grows much easier. What niche do I pick? So when we look at our niche, is we need to understand that some niches are better than others. The reason this is because every single niche has its pros and cons. The main thing you want to stick to in your niche is a niche that's always going to stay relevant, and no matter what happens to the general YouTube scene. So if you've already taken my free course, you'll know that I've picked out a list of niches that I think will remain around no matter what. For example, things such as cars will always remain around, as people will always need to drive somewhere. Things like relationship channels will always be around, because people will always be in relationships and have problems. Things like personal finance, because people will always be trying to make money. And we also have things like weight loss and health, because health is always going to be a top priority for any human. As for why I started this channel, well, it's clear. People will always need to know how to grow on YouTube, so my channel will remain relevant for years to come. So the work will compound on itself. So when you're picking your niche, you need to make sure that it's something that is going to be here at least 1 to 2 years from now. Because you want to be able to pick a niche where you can say to yourself that at least the work I'm doing is going to be still relevant in the future. And you're not working on something useless or something that eventually fades away. Another thing you need to take into account is going to be your monetization strategy. This is something that you're going to need to think about beforehand, because this is something that you must consider if you're really serious about making money from this. I would say that AdSense is the easiest way to make predictable profits every month through YouTube. And I know some may argue that affiliate products are great, which is true. Affiliate income is good. However, affiliate income is less predictable and harder to do, which is why I will be making a full tutorial on how to do that. So if you opt for the YouTube ad revenue monetization strategy, the first thing you're going to want to take into account is going to be your CPM. Now, if you already know a little bit about YouTube, you'll know that your CPM is dependent on many factors. And the higher your CPM, the higher your income. The lower your CPM, the lower your income. Now, it goes without saying that you can't just pick a niche that has an extremely high CPM, because some niches aren't great when it comes to viewership, meaning that although the CPM is very high, there is a small audience size. So your videos will get quite low views. So for example, videos on e-commerce website hosting tends to have a ridiculously high CPM. However, this doesn't mean that you would start a channel around this niche simply because of this. This is because these kinds of channels tend to have very small audiences, meaning that although the CPM is quite high, you still wouldn't make as much money because of the fact that there aren't many views in this niche. So if you made a channel, it just wouldn't get enough views for you to make an income. In addition, picking a channel just based on CPM isn't great, because although the CPM might be high, it's also going to take you a very long time in order to get the knowledge and make those kinds of videos. So for example, if you know nothing about e-commerce website hosting, you can't just do research for 30 minutes and think you're going to completely understand how to make these kinds of videos with the level of detail you need to make people want to subscribe and continue watching the video. You need to be somewhat of an authority figure about your topic in your niche. Take my channel for example. I'm somewhat of an authoritative voice for YouTube cash cow channels, which is why people subscribe to my channel. You need to truly understand the content you're making, because if you don't, and you've spent 5 minutes or so doing research, people will realize this and stop watching your content, or it simply won't get that many views. Content quality. Now this is something that most people don't realize, but content quality is something that you need to understand, especially if you're going to be creating a search engine optimized channel, or a channel that revolves around evergreen topics. This is because channels that are evergreen, that succeed, do usually have a very high quality video production. Now when I say very high video production, this does not mean that you need the most expensive gear, the most expensive transitions. It just means that we will go quality is presented in a way that is easy to digest and very effective to consume. For example, I would consider the videos that I produce on my channel to be very high quality. This is because I spend hours doing the research beforehand to make sure that I get the content right. I also spend hours beforehand running these channels and finding out which ways to best optimize them. And I spend hours with my editor going over the final draft of the video, making sure that it's very engaging. I also make sure that I do multiple revisions to ensure that this video actually helps my viewer as much as possible. So you need to think to yourself, how can I edit this video in a way that is going to help my viewer at the most? For example, on this channel, when discussing certain topics, I show you the clear examples of channels. I then show you the clear steps you need to take, and it's all presented in an easy whiteboard form manner with a clear voiceover. You can also see that my editor is very skilled. He also spends quite a decent amount of time making very good animations that are very engaging. The reason this is a very key piece of the video is because one key piece of making an evergreen channel is watch time. And your video must be engaging, and people must stay on your video in order for it to rank amongst others. If your video has low watch time, it will not get high up in the search results, or even suggested, which is what you want. So one thing that you need to understand about making these kinds of videos is that they will generally take more time than any other kinds of videos that you do make. This is because these videos have a very long shelf life. And because you've put a lot of quality and time and effort into these kinds of videos, and because the topics are relevant for a very long time, they tend to do well for a very long time. This is because lots of people don't really produce quality content on YouTube. And when you produce a quality video, especially in an evergreen niche, it usually tends to rise to the top. So when making your content for this channel, you need to make sure that your content has decent quality. Make sure that you're understanding what the viewer wants, giving the viewer what they want, and keep the video engaging. The 2 metrics that matter. The 2 most important metrics to succeeding with a passive income evergreen channel is going to be your watch time and CTR. Now these metrics are the most important metrics when it comes to starting and scaling an evergreen channel, because when you should decide to promote a video, the first thing it looks at is the CTR, the click-through rate, and then it looks at your watch time to see if after people have clicked on the video, they actually stay or not. If your video has a low watch time and low CTR, your video doesn't rank well at all. You need to be able to get both of these metrics in order to make sure that your video ranks well. Now, click-through rate is something that is very easy to do. You just need to understand exactly what it is your viewer wants, and how you can present that data in your thumbnail in a clear and concise manner. For example, if you go onto YouTube and type in how to build muscle, you will see some great examples of thumbnails that show clear and concise data and an easy manner. For example, take a look at this thumbnail right here. This is a video on how to build muscle. The thumbnail is clear, concise, and simple. And as you can see, the video was posted 2 years ago, meaning that the YouTube channel owner that posted this video 2 years ago is still making profit from this video today. When you click on the video also, you can see that the video production quality is also very high. Take a look at some of these clips.
Backed by real group, the thigh muscle cross-sectional area and the muscle volume increased by 4 to 7%, and their 1 rep max increased by 8 to 10%. The regular walking group, on the other hand, experienced
This is why this video is ranked #1 when you search this term. The video quality is very high, and that leads it to have a high watch time. So you can clearly see that when you have a video that has high CTR and high quality, which leads to high watch time on an evergreen topic, your video will result in being put highly in the YouTube algorithm. What videos to make? One thing that you need to do when making your video content is you need to make sure that the videos you are making actually serves your market demand. You don't want to be making videos and a topic where there isn't much demand for it, or it is a topic that is too competitive, because your video will sink to the bottom in an overly competitive market. You can use tools like We Like You to see how competitive your search term is going to be. One tool that is my secret edge is vidiq. Let's take, for example, make money online. When we go onto vidiq and type this in, you can see clearly how competitive this type of content is. However, if you click on the competition tab, you can see that it switches to show you the content that is very low in competition, but has decent search volume. Once you find something that has low competition, but high search volume, you can easily and quickly grow your channel. That's exactly what I did with the cash cow niche. I realized there still aren't many creators talking about how to create a cash cow channel. So I made some very high quality videos on the topic that allowed me to grow very quickly. Time to success. Now that you've picked your niche, you've made your videos and you've started to upload them on a consistent basis. Selected, for example, you've started to upload one per week. Here comes the trickiest part. The trickiest part about running these channels is not giving up too early. Because your channel's main focus is going to be on search engine optimization. This means that your channel is going to be a very slow growing channel, meaning that the growth you experience during the first 6 months is going to be very small. In fact, the level of growth of the experience may be so small that you want to stop uploading. However, if you continue uploading consistently in the future, it is highly likely that you'll have a channel that produces passive income on a consistent basis. So just understand that you start your channel, you will have less videos, so less opportunities to get views. But by the end of the year, if you have been uploading weekly, you will have 52 high-quality videos that will be producing an income. For example, if each of those 52 videos you made produced you $1 per day, you can make $52 per day, or $1,612 per month in passive income, which may not be life-changing money to you, but that kind of money is great because it will be mainly passive income. And in addition, this income will be growing year over year. So your income is increasing, and you can start more channels if you wish. And you can now hire someone to make those videos on a new channel that you start. So to recap what was learned: 1. Find a niche that has low competition, but high search volume. 2. Make videos in that niche. 3. Make sure those videos are high quality. 4. Make sure those videos have good CTR. 5. Stay consistent for at least 6 months. If you're wondering how this is actually done, I'm actually starting a brand new passive channel from scratch and sharing the channel results with my course students so that they can actually learn how these channels work and what problems they will have to overcome. So we are going on this journey together. If you would like access to this, you can check out my course, Cash Cow Mastery. This course teaches you exactly how you can build your own YouTube channel where you can make a full-time income online without making videos. It contains around 2 hours of high-quality edited content that is updated every single month. It also contains a great private community where I consistently respond to questions. If you're interested in buying this course, check out the link in the description.